Hello Tubesters, it's Gav and welcome to another one of my videos. Today it's my Telford roundup or thoughts on Telford. That's IPMS scale model word Telford 2022. I have to say, apart from the usual PTSD problems, not liking crowds, not liking too much noise, there you go to Telford. Well, it's the only place I go every year. That's only because it's about 40 minutes down the road, half an hour down the road from me. Thoroughly enjoyed myself. Last year, 2021, if you watch that video, I felt it was really flat. And we were deep in the depths of COVID. A lot of the overseas clubs and UK clubs couldn't attend or wouldn't attend. And that was a bit flat. This year, I thought it had a really good vibe. That's almost like cool talk. But yeah, it wasn't as crowded as it had been in, I think I went to my first one, I can't remember if it was 2017 or 2018. But the first two that I went to, it was chockers. And my head was, whoa, on overload. Then obviously last year, COVID, it wasn't as bad, but it was still quite chockers. This year, I might be proved wrong, I don't know. I got there for about 12 o'clock and left about 3ish. Yeah, I don't stay massively long, I can't with this head. It just gets overpowered too quick. But unless I'm with people type of thing, if I'm talking and all that, I'm not too bad. Because I can talk. You wouldn't believe it, would you, on these videos? But yeah, I can. But yeah, I did about 3 hours. And also my wife had got to visit somebody in hospital and she was taking me there and dropping me off and all that type of stuff. But I didn't think there were as many people because I wasn't getting... There's loads of choke points at Telford, and it tends to be because they put... I've said this before, I don't like it. They put... I can understand it, they're trying to cram all them, get as much funds in as in the IPMS now, but they tend to put the traders a lot of the time, or sometimes at the end of the model club stands, if you want to call them that, tables, and it tends to be people clustering around, puts choke points all the time. Well, I didn't really have that feel at all this year. I didn't get to see the competition area, and I didn't take a bag because I wanted to go around the competition area, but as usual with me, mistiming and it was shut off. Although it wasn't upstairs on like that mezzanine level, and it wasn't where it was. You couldn't really see. You could see there were models. I could see there was a small figure section. I was trying to maybe dip my toe into that. I'm not a competition, not with this head, but there wasn't that many. Even I might be able to scrape a commended. But anyway, that was there, but I couldn't get to see it because of not being able to get round. Obviously, they shut them off for the judges. That's what I was trying to say. Just say judging, Gav. Major. So on the IPMS side of it, on their side of it, I just thought it went brilliantly. Everything was digitalised. I can't do that, and although my wife had pre-done it all and shown me, I still struggled with getting the lady from the security who was doing it all. I had to press some more buttons, and my head was that shredded. I'd already forgotten what I was supposed to be doing, but she was really helpful. So the event owners or whatever, I thought your guys were good as well. IPMS, again, all volunteers, brilliantly run. The clubs, you still have some more engaging than others. I do think sometimes people, although let's be faced, it's over 2 days and they're talking to a lot, sometimes just sit back and they feel a bit reticent and engaging with the people coming up to the table. Sorry, Archie's clip-clopping in. But there were a lot that did engage. Shout out to the guys that run the, I'm going to say the Canadian Air Force SIG group, IPMS SIG group, really engaging. The guy I spoke to was fantastic, and a lot of time and a lot of knowledge. We did speak about the F-104 Starfighter in depth, him having more knowledge than me nodding along sagely. but I really enjoyed that. But if I was to give an award out for the most, for me personally, the most engaging SIG group, model, club, whatever that was there, I really would have to say it goes to, and yeah, you're going to say what's coming later on, but it really would go to the hot rod, IPMS hot rod special interest group, SIG. I believe that's what it's called. Those lads went above and beyond, and I really can't thank them enough. You know, my head was bouncing all over the place. It was good to talk to somebody because it just brings a crud in your head down a bit. They had real enthusiasm for what they do, and cars aren't particularly. I've said this before. I've watched all my Mara's Acme videos. I do believe that old Tom does a few acne videos as well on how to solve that problem. But you'll have to go and check those out yourself. Anyway, I'm digressing. Those fellas from the Hot Rod SIG group, IPMS, they were so engaging and so helpful. It was brilliant, and you could see the enthusiasm they had for their subject. As I've probably just diverted from what I was trying to say. Automotive isn't. I'm going to go out on a limb here because people will shoot me down and say, I always do every Telford video on whatever I have to say. Don't be too cruel because you just get blocked. Automotive isn't massively represented at Telford, I don't think, compared to Acme. No, again, Acme, and any other full-on car modelling venue. But I really thought, yes, I was drawn to the hot rod guys because it's what I like in cars. Hot rods and American pickup trucks, 50s custom pickup trucks, let's put it that way. They really were enthusiastic on the subject, and if some of my American Maras could have got over to Telford, I'm sure you guys would have just been talking forever. Because obviously you've got that core enthusiasm. As I say, I've never settled. I was actually saying to that group of guys, I will settle on probably something I want to build more than others. I really am into my model shipbuilding now. I enjoy that because that brings me back to when I was a kid, and I built just about everything Airfix ever did, apart from HMS Devonshire. But I did, as in the county class destroyer. I built more or less everything that they did, so I am into that. I didn't get a chance actually. I spoke to the guys a couple of times, not last year because they weren't there, but the couple of years before, that come down from one of the Scottish clubs, and they bring their ships with them, and they were always good for a good chat and talk about the ships. Couldn't chat to them this year because they were absolutely overloaded with people talking, and by then my head was, by the time I had a look, then I thought, right, I'll go and see if I can have a chat to the guys and get some advice and stuff. But my head was bouncing on that last, and I was going to do one more tour around for a reason in a minute. I'll tell you in a minute. So I didn't actually get to speak to those guys, but the hot rod guys, big thumbs up, big shout out. I can't remember names properly. To the guy who was talking to me on the car park from the club as well, I am so sorry I've forgotten your name. It's PTSD. I'm really sorry. It comes and goes, and my memory goes in and out, and it's especially short-term memory. It's quite badly affected. So I apologise that I'm not calling out any names. I did say to him, and I was pestering him like mad to go and check out Ramble 69 channel, old Tom, because he is, for me, a top builder of hot rods, gassers. I'm getting the names now. Gassers, drag racing, and yes, we all know he does like Le Mans cars occasionally and stuff like that. But for me, Tom is king hot rod bloke. So I kept saying to him, you've got to, because they do mostly Facebook stuff, and I said, you really should, because they've got some lovely builds, and they got real enthusiasm. And I said, the community here on YouTube could really, we need you. Hang on, finger over there. We need you, and it's the truth. We need the community needs people with enthusiasm who can talk. But I'm hoping that they went over and checked Tom's channel out at some stage, because I'm not being insulting to them saying they could learn something, but you can see somebody who really is an artist in styrene and paint. And I know there are other guys out there as well. I just happen to pester old Tom from time to time, no matter how many lawsuits I get brought against me. And I like to promote him, because I promote anybody on here, on my show, as you know. On the show, that's got to come later, on my channel. But old Tom, we all know the fella is stellar. I'll write that down in a minute. That can be used in something else. He really knows his stuff, and he's the most humble bloke going. He's not all shouty and rah rah rah. He just does his thing. Makes 2 short videos. They should be longer. Yeah, I put them blokes onto him, and I hope if they ever see this video, they will think about, as a collective or as single blokes or gals, if they're in their community as well, come on to YouTube, do videos. As I said to them, you can be like Joe from Mad Genius Productions and never get past a pair of rubber gloved hands. That could put people off straight away. But you know what I mean. You can be a hand person and a voice, or you can be a YouTube star. I think that's Harry Houdini. Anyway, you can be a YouTube personality. But what I'm saying is, it's a great community. Sean over at Scale Model Car Guy channel says it all the time. Everybody's willing to help everybody else out, and the very few bitches here that are just, you know, stir up, or mealy mouth, dark clouds, whatever you want to call them, just ignore. You know, you don't have to bother. As I said to these guys, anybody you don't like, press that button that hides them. You never have to see them again. You go where you want to. But I find YouTube, for me, as a community, is better than a Facebook group, an Instagram, or on any other social media. To be honest, and I'm on both those things, because you feel like you're actually talking to people. You're engaging not just with other channel content providers. God, that's YouTube corporate, isn't it? But you know what I mean. You're engaging with other enthusiasts, but not just with those guys, but with hopefully thousands of other people that you know, they're just never going to put a channel up, but they will engage with a comment, you know, or a like. Comment and like. It all helps grow channels. Don't say that very often, do I? I'm going to start saying that. I should do. But yeah, so I really hope these hot rodders, these UK hot rodders, come on, and custom builders, muscle car builders, but they were hot rodders. Come on and do, you know, not just from the UK, but anybody that's thinking about it. Get your, and you don't. I'm not just about hot rodders, tanks, airplanes, figure painting, busts, display figures. It's all what I do. Get your asses on here. Sorry, YouTube, and be part of something. Anyway, after that huge digression, but to be honest with you, it's only what I was talking like at the show to them, so they probably understand that. Let's get down to the one major disappointment that I got, or had, and that was I only met one person at Telford. Now, you would think, at the age that we are as a collective, when we say we're going to be there, you'd have thought, as my missus would tell me, or did tell me, at least 3 times over the last couple of days, why didn't you lot arrange to meet somewhere, or swap numbers? And I'm looking, I don't know, it was all Gary's fault from Gary's stuff. He's the leader of the pack. I mean, if Gary can't do it, I mean, what can I do? So I was hoping to see Gary from Gary's stuff. Go check Gary out. a really nice bloke, and he engages with the people that engage with him. So, and I really appreciate that. So, Gary, I was going to meet. Bob from Greybeard Models. Paul from Styrene Monkey. Now, I did meet one person, and it was Paul. Thank you, Paul. Paul had messaged me on Facebook saying, Gav, have you at the show yet? Because it turned out I think they came, him and his Mrs. Sue, the Ice Queen, and I can't remember the number, but she and he came up the night before, I believe, and they were outside, and I'd said to him, I don't do Facebook on my phone, never have done, so I'll give you my mobile and just I'll kill you and you call me, whatever, when I get there. And I just got through the ticket place, and so I thought that was a person. Just got through the ticket place, phoned him up, and it turned out he was only outside. So he came through, and he said he got something for me, and yeah. But he generally had, and that was a book on the Bismarck, The Anatomy of the Ship book, no less. I mean, Paul, I can't thank you enough. I didn't want nothing for it. He just said he'd heard me saying that I'd got the 1 in 700 for Christmas, still waiting on the stuff to come from China for it, the deck and all that stuff. But I would have to buy this Anatomy of the Ship book. And he says, I believe he said he built the Tirpitz, which more or less, apart from extra anti-aircraft guns, is more or less the same. Oh, Tirpitz and Bismarck fanboys are now going to be tell me, no, it's not, but I believe it is, because I've got a book on the Tirpitz, and it must be the truth. And he brought me this anatomy. I'll tell you what, I've been flicking through it ever since I brought it back. What a fantastic book. I haven't got any of their books at all, that type, because I do a few more. It weighs a ton, and the bloke just gave it me. He says, I've done it, I'm done with it, Gav. He says, and I know you'd appreciate it. He said, I'm not going to build probably a Bismarck again, or a Tirpitz, and I know that you are. I mean, this is our community for you. So this is Paul at Styrene Monkey. Go check him out, because the fella, I put his builds on. He's building the Yamato, he's just more or less finishing it off. And then he's going on to a Schnell boat, or what we used to call in the UK an E-boat. And he's going to be building that soon. Anyway, I'm digressing. But he's another one. He's just a humble bloke. He doesn't stand there banging a drum, I'm the greatest modeler there's ever been. He just gets on with it, and he chats away. He has his ups and downs, and he just, builds through it. And I just have him on. I put him on as I'm working, and it's just really nice company. It's a bit like George at that Mofo Damon channel, and some of the other guys. People often moan about long videos, like this one is. And I get that, because people watch lots and lots of videos, and if you're doing a half-hour video, they very often don't watch it. I understand that. But I just said, it's like I said to Keith, another good Keith and RC scale models, something like that. But Keith was having a bit of a whinge, and that's not having a pop at Keith, by the way, because he's one, he's got a big heart, Keith has. But he was saying that you make a big video, people don't watch it, then people tell you to make a little video. Well, I'm of the opinion you can make a little video and they still won't watch it. As I said to Keith, do what you want to do. It's your show, it's your video, it's your channel. If people choose to watch it, great, and if they don't, they don't. I just, if you're hell-bent on climbing the greasy pole of, whether it's for monetary reasons or just for, you want to be known as the man or the woman, on here, then that's fine, and I ain't going to bag people for that. Gary's going through the stars, as in, with his subs and stuff. I got no problem with that, but I'm saying you obviously got to nail down what you want to do. Me, I've got head problems. I come on here for the community. Yes, the advertising money helps. It blooming does now, because we're on our knees. But you know, I just come on here and I just enjoy yakking at the camera. If anybody wants to put the full video on and it's on the background, great. And if they don't, fair play. You know, I just do it for me. So yeah, you know, go and check out Paul at Styrene Monkey anyway. That's what I was actually saying, wasn't I? Right, so I got to see, didn't see Bob, didn't see Gary, and some of the other guys. I think there were some other guys going, or said they were going to go. And I presume Gary and Bob have got. I haven't seen any videos they've put up yet, but I presume they went. But I even did a last tour. I went through all 3 halls yet again with my and times there were at least 3 blokes that had got longer hair in a ponytail and a beard, and I thought it was Bob. And I was coming up, sidling up to the side. At last, Bob, with just 3 different people. Luckily, I didn't actually say anything and just sauntered off, pretending to look at something else. But 3 times I thought I'd seen Bob. Gary, you know, I didn't catch anybody that even looked like Gary. And it's hard not to look like Gary, you know what I mean? The bloke is like Tom Selleck without a moustache, you know? Well, he could look like Tom Selleck, you know, after a few beers and, you know, I don't know. But yeah, didn't see anybody apart from Paul. And we only got to catch up at the beginning because then him and his missus and Chris, I liked Chris as well, I shook his hand next to Paul, they're big marrows. They run that show, the live show, and obviously they have a lot of people, and she'd rung him up saying there was more people outside and, you know, and want to chat to him. So he had to go. I think that was the reason. I think that might have been pre-planned. I have that effect on people. But yeah, he had to go, but I saw nobody else. Nobody came up to me. Was I really surprised? No. I'm not exactly big in the modelling community, and when you say you've got head problems, people tend to run the opposite way. Right, so that was it. I've covered all that. There will be photographs on at the end as usual, you know, the little slide ones. I just went whenever I could squeeze in and put and again, it's only on this camera, video camera that can take stills. It's like a £160 camera, it's a £70 camera. They're not brilliant, and the lighting is really bad in there. That's not their fault. It's a venue, you know. It's not, you know, they haven't got like lots of little lights, and there's no windows or anything like that. So, you know, you can't get any better than that. So yeah, they're not particularly biased in any way. There might be some F104 Starfighters in there. When I ever see one, I always click because I like the F104 Starfighters. There's some, obviously, the hot rods. They only had a small collection at the SIG group, but I took most of them. And yeah, you'll see them in a minute. As for purchases, I want to give a shout out to the guys I bought my plinths from. I always do, and you always see when I do a final reveal on one of my busts, or figures, I always show these guys, and that's Oakwood Studios. Can we see that? Yeah. That's Richard Wharton that runs Oakwood Studios. Quality handmade wooden bases. Can we see you'll get a better look. I'll show when I've got this marine bust I've been waiting for one of these plinths for. I'll give you a proper look under the basin, because they always put their contact details. I have no connection to these guys. I pay for these. I told them I've done them a shout out before. I'm shouting them out again. Reason for that: one, he's a one-man band along with his wife, and he's trying to make a living doing these. They're all handmade in the UK. That's no problem for things that are made outside the UK, but these are handmade in the UK. Fantastic products, or I wouldn't be buying them. Priced competitively, or I wouldn't be buying them. But as I say, I have no connection. I just like to see people get on. How many times on YouTube do we bag, rightly in a lot, sometimes people put fake rants up and all the rest of it, but sometimes we bag a product because it is not what it said on the tin, it is not up to what you've paid for it. and those companies have a right to be called out. I will call out a company if I think I've bought something and it's not very good and I'm doing an unboxing. I've been taken to task over, not by the companies themselves, but over a couple of times over the years. I'm not inundated with it, but people go, "Oh, you should approach a company for it." No. I've bought something. I'll do a review on it, and if I think there's something wrong, I'll say it. I believe if we're going to have these channels and we're like mouthpieces, then you have the cojones to stand up and say this is rubbish, or this part is rubbish, but the rest is good. You know what I'm saying? I've never had any bad dealings with Oakwood Studios, and I wish them all the very best. I bought, so you get the contact details underneath. But when I do my reveal of my Guadalcanal marine bust at last, we'll have a look. I'm going to put a mini. I've got one of these already, but I bought an extra one while I was there. That was 11 quid. There's my finger four type of size comparison. That's going to be for a mini bust. This is for the marine bust. It's the oak. They do oak mainly. They'll do other stuff if they've got it. You just got to ask them. But they mainly at the moment knock out oak and yew. Well, I'm a big yew fan. I am an ex-tree surgeon, tree worker, tree climber. So I've worked on a lot of yew trees, a lot of oak trees as well. But this is going to be for the Guadalcanal bust. But look at that. That's 10 quid. I mean, that is absolute quality. Lovely, lovely, lovely work, Richard. And I've got two spare, because these are my favourites normally. These are yew wood. As you can see, it's lovely. How many more times can you say lovely? But it's great wood. Yeah. Anyway, but what I like about these particularly is you can turn them around. As I said to Richard and his wife, I will turn it round. I'll put obviously the face of the bust on it, pointing the area that people look at the faces, I mean, and I'll just choose which side of the yew wood I want to show. So that's £1 extra on those. They're 11 quid, but they come obviously with the felt bases. These are brilliant for stability. I'll only buy them now with these on. I don't have any worries of accidental tips, especially when my wife's putting them in my little gallery boxes that she bought me. She's a bit heavy-handed, my missus. So that's that. What else have we got? So I only bought. I don't ever buy kits. I only buy books normally. As I say, I don't go near the kit stands and that, because they're quite bunched in and you get a load of people, and again my head just goes on the fritz. So I normally buy books. I bought the plinths, and then I was talking to the guys at the hot rod stand who are not tied in, but they get a lot of their kits through, and I can't remember, again, I can't remember the guy's name, Andrew, Alan, I can't remember, but Head gone, and he gets in kits from the States, because over here it's really hard to get American kits, the hot rod, any type, muscle cars, things like that. You can get some, if Revell bringing them out, you can get them, but only if it's their latest run type of thing. That means I've got to get that Super B before it's too late. Anyway, of course they said, Gav, come with us. So thanks guys for spending Gav's money that he didn't really have. But no, this first one is the Ford 30s Ford Model A Coupe 2-in-1. Now I remember old Tom showing this off when they re-released it, and he was showing it as the older releases and what the difference was. Remember that one? See, I do watch them all, Tom. And I wanted it then, and it came out, and I don't know. I normally just think, they'll be around for years, like they've. I'll get them in a year's time, 2 years' time. Well, it turns out they only have limited runs. I didn't know. do you think I've been able to get one at a reasonable price? So I got that one for 28 quid. So I didn't think that was too bad at all. And I'm really looking forward, because I really wanted to do that one. When I remember when Tom was showing it, I thought, yeah, I could see me doing that. So got that one. And then they suggested, because he didn't have hot rods, obviously people had already bought a load out, and he said at the moment, unfortunately, the price with the postage is just killing everything, because you can't, getting them in from the States, it's so much on top now. The importers, and they're not major importers, a lot of these guys, they're just guys doing it from their house, a lot of them, and they just can't put the markup on the kits, because people just won't buy the kits, but anyway, I got this one for 40 quid, and the lad said it was like a 2-in-1. You could get 2 out of it, and you could build. You didn't have to build like that, you could add bits and pieces, keep that one back, and then obviously use it for put donor parts on and stuff. Well, obviously I don't have enough kits to have donor parts and a salvage yard or anything to scrap things and put things on, but definitely going to be doing that one. I don't think I'll be doing it black, but I've got to ask the guys' advice. They said this one it's an AMT, it'd be slightly trickier to do than the Revel one, so they suggested, because I'd already told them I've got this other one to do that I pre-bought, was it last year, so they said, well, maybe do the other 2 first and then have a go on this one. But that's the other one I got. So that was all my finds from Telford. Now I did an unboxing, I believe, or at least I showed it, I can't remember, of this 29 Model A Roadster, another Ford. This I'm building dedicated. I don't know if they call them tribute builds or dedication builds. I never get it. But I said at the time this was going to be built for old Tom, Mr. Rambler 69, because he has inspired me so much. You say inspired, Gav? Have we ever seen you built one apart from a Chevy pickup truck, which is it's actually up there, because I mean to show you. If I build this decently, I'm going to show the Chevy before I dismantle it for parts. See if we've come on anywhere in my building and painting. So what's happened with me is I got into, as I said to you guys at the time of buying this last year, I got into starting to look at the car shows in America, and I know we have car shows over here in Europe and that, but obviously with that you've got such big skies over there, and the light's always good most of the time, and when people do that 4G, 5G is it even now, phones and stuff, filming, it is so vibrant. And I really got into, I didn't just get into it, like I say, I've got a thing for Super Bees. I don't know why. I really don't know why. And that's how I don't know why. I mean, I like him, so there's obviously a reason. But I saw Super Bees at a few shows and I thought, I really like them. But I really do like rods and customs. And then this sounds ridiculous. Then I started getting into all like the 50s scene. I like a lot of the doo-wop and the well, I always like a bit of doo-wop and that, but the rockabilly music and stuff, and I've been getting into all that. Really, it's been quite good, and as I say, I love the colours. It's the colours with the rods particularly and stuff. I'm getting to know bits of engines, but slowly, and with this head, a lot of it goes out as soon as I've remembered it. But yeah, I really like the colours of the cars and stuff like that, and it seems to lift me. When I said to Tom, when he puts a reveal up, it really is like a shot in the arm, because there's such beautiful work, especially the rods and customs and stuff that he does. I mean, even his rat rods. Although I'm a bloke who loves all the sparkly stuff, even the rat rods that he does are brilliant, and the other guys, I'm just saying I'm on Tom just because I just found him first, really, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's obviously going to be built now. I suppose there's a bit of Also, channel announcement. If it was a channel announcement, I'd make a separate video for it, wouldn't I? But what I'm planning to do is, you know, I've got 10,000 other builds that I pick up and put down. Again, some of you do it anyway, so hopefully not too many of you got head problems, but a lot of you pick up and put down builds. I'm probably fairly notorious for it, and a lot of that is just head problems. But because I've got into the hot rod type, I suppose, culture, if that makes sense, and the Americana stuff, yes, I had been pestering my missus to let me change this room into a 1950s style American diner. I didn't get very far with that one. But you know, I thought we could have this chrome, this seat could be chromed, and we could have the reds and the turquoises, the yellows, you know? Nah, not interested. Oh well. But yeah, so what I'm going to actually do, and we'll make a separate video on it. I wouldn't mind having a go at building this on, maybe under the camera, or parts of it under the camera. And I'd like to do a show. Now we're getting there now, aren't we? Yeah. Oh yes. Most of you will miss this because you'll be sick and tired of me talking. So I will do a separate video on it. But I will be doing a Gav's Styrene Rod and Custom show. And what we'll be doing is just talking rubbish, because let's face it, what do I know about the subject? Nothing. But if you're interested, if you're already obviously got that interest and you're building them, please come over and put your input into stuff, because I know nothing. I'm just a bloke who likes the colours, so I've got to know more, haven't I? And I'm thinking, yeah, Gav's Styrene Rod and Custom Show. If somebody already has that title, approach me and I shall change it immediately. And it'll be once a week, hopefully, and it'll be this format. Lots of talking, very little modelling, but there will be some, hopefully. And we'll just try and get something going, just some fun, half hour, 4 hours, I don't know. Maybe we can get some guests on that do know what they're talking about. So that's what I'm going to do. So we're not talking ships or figures and stuff in the same video or whatever. It will be a separate Gav's Styrene Rod and Custom show. Again, I say it. So that's what I'm planning. I hope you're going to be interested. Those of you that are back here, there we go. Those of you that are interested in that type of thing, I hope you might be interested enough to follow along. What could possibly go wrong? Which is the banner of the channel. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've been procrastinating. That is a long word, and I can't spell it. But I've been procrastinating for too long on that model because, as I said to the guys at the show, because of my head problems, I'm defeated before I start. If I don't build these damn things, how am I ever going to get any better? I got better with my finger painting, and my ships are getting better. So I must be able to build something I would enjoy building. I'm just thinking, if other people's hot rods and customs can lift me in my head, surely my own stuff can. I can feel a few glue bombs coming along to begin with, but let's give it a go. So yeah, I will do one of them channel announcements a lot, and it will be only a couple of minutes, or premieres or whatever they call them. And I'm hoping to grow the show, because it will be a show. Oh, there'll be a show. There'll be everything, more or less. We will grow the show, hopefully, over the coming years, to be something that's fairly decent. I'm hoping. I could do it with ships and figures and stuff like that, but on that stuff I just like to, I wouldn't say keep to myself, because I like to show, just like Paul does his shipbuilding and stuff, I like to obviously this is what the whole idea of this community is, showing what you do. But you're not trying to chew any of my new kits, are you, son? You're not, are you? Good lad. He's investigating. Yeah, I fancy doing that. I fancy. I'm really getting into the. I just like the whole genre of it, and I'm putting on a fair few. At least once a day, I'll have some hour-long video that somebody's put up with a car show that they've gone to in the States. So, yeah, if you're interested, it isn't one of Gav's pie in the sky. I will be following through with it. I haven't even got any paint for the hot rod yet. So, but at least I can get a video out starting off sanding and making lots of noise, scratching and all that stuff. I've more or less got an idea for the colour. So we can start that one, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. And as I say, hopefully you'll pop along. I don't know about doing live shows, but I wouldn't mind doing the videos hopefully if I can grow it, where I might get some of the guys in if they want to get on doing a pre-chat video as part of it, or even live that way. I don't know yet. This could go anywhere, and it probably will. Right, guys, photographs at the end. If you've lost the will to live, so's my wife. 24 years married today. Nice one. Thanks for sticking with it, both of you. So, you and her. So yeah, look after yourselves. Telford was really good. The big letdown was not seeing my fellow YouTubers there, or anybody that watches us on YouTube. That was a real shame. Huge thanks to IPMS for putting Telford on. I don't think you could have done it better this year. I think for me, as a guy with some severe mental health problems, I thought it went absolutely fantastic, and you deserve a pat on the back for all the model clubs, the SIG groups that took the time out of their year to come along and show their stuff off. Big thumbs up to you. It's a lot of dedication. To those guys that really engage with me, and there were a couple of other tables as well. Thank you very much again to the Hot Rod SIG group. I thought you were a really decent group of blokes. No matter what your wives say, I thought you were really, really decent group of blokes, and I appreciate the time you gave me, because you didn't have to. So thank you very much. So look after yourselves. Check out the photographs at the end. There's some beautiful people out there making some beautiful builds, and again, I'm afraid if the lighting ain't brilliant and the camera and just literally over the thing, photograph taken and move on, they're not top-notch stuff, but my channel never is. Look after yourselves, and we will catch each other very, very soon, I'm sure, on another video.